and welcome to the Glacially Musical Podcast. It is beer, metal, swearing, with a touch of vinyl on the side if you're feeling snacky, which I usually am. Of course, I am Nick Cameron of Glacially Musical, and I am joined by my cohortist semi-presenter who's always presentable, the man who's never shy to say kingmate, Keefy Checkers. How we doing today, buddy?
Been better.
I have also been better.
I've been struggling with my health the last few days.
Same. I saw Hamilton last week on Sunday, and the lady next to me was very sick and was not wearing a mask, so it feels like I swallowed a lit bottle rocket.
That sucks.
But just gonna go ahead and beer check because it makes me feel better.
Yeah, beer check it up. You got something wrong with you? Pour some beer on it.
Exactly. I've got a Modus Hoperandi IPA by Ska Brewing.
That name is incredible, by the way. Oh my god.
We got it. I know. Damn it.
Spillage. Breakage, as they say in Breaking Bad. There's some breakage.
Hang on, just let me get a...
You can wipe that up with that Bee Gees record from last week. Oh,
don't be mean to the Bee Gees.
I just listened to that pod out of vanity. I like to see how we're doing and make up mental grades for our performances that I never tell you about, but I only criticize myself about. And yeah, probably the harshest burn I have ever given was on that Bee Gees check on the Chaser episode. So I apologize retrospectively, not to the Bee Gees, but to you.
It is totally fine. It is worth it. What's your beer? Oh, hang on. So here is my...
Oh, lovely. Oh, I like that color. What's that taste like?
Delicious and happy.
Oh, there you go. Happy and hoppy. I just, because I haven't really been to the store except for meds, I'm still getting through this 6-pack of Dale's Pale Ale. We already know what it tastes like. We know what it sounds like.
I actually picked up a nice 6-pack of Double Dale's Imperial IPA this week.
So I don't think I know that one.
Well, if you want an IPA that tastes like getting kicked in the face, which I do.
I already feel like I've been kicked in the face. That's the problem, though.
But this kicks you in the face with happy.
All right, then.
And it also makes you not be able to taste anything else for a while.
Oh, word? Okay.
So it's great for kicking medicine right behind it.
Oh,
hopefully this week I am actually sounding better, as I also listen back to these podcasts with vanity. What I judge, however, is how drunk I got, which on that Chaser, that we did 2 in one night. So that was probably poor choices.
And not vanity Denise Matthews, former protege of Prince from Berry Gordy's The Last Dragon, Vanity the Sin.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Also because I moved into this new house, and when we started doing these, I had 6 months almost of podcasting to get set up and get rid of the reverb and get a good sound. Well, I haven't had that, and I know, believe me, I want to be back in front of the record wall because that's awesome, and I can put up like little jokes in the wall, and I'll get back there as soon as I can figure out a way to make it comfortable, but it's just not a comfortable seat yet. No, so behind me, you've got I got my jerseys. I finally got the jerseys up. They're actually all the way around the room.
That's
along
cool.
The ceiling.
That's right. Cool.
I have 5 soccer, 3 baseball, the rest hockey. And
I don't think I've ever seen you with the baseball jerseys.
I have 3 baseball jerseys. I have a Korean baseball jersey. I have a St. Louis Cardinals spring training practice jersey. And I have a Gateway Grizzlies jersey, which is the local independent minor league club across the river, which I tend to get out there from time to time. It used to be back in the day, I would always call it the greatest sports bar in the world with a $5 cover, because it was $5 to get in and a beer was $3. I don't know. It's a little more expensive now, which is totally fine. But they serve baseball's best burger, which is what they call the Luther. They also serve baseball's best dog and baseball's best nachos. That's what they call them. And I mean, it's ballsy to say that, but it's pretty true. Yeah. But I put my Kiss Afghan on the table in front of me to kind of soak up some of the sound. Oh, that is delicious.
I'm in the dark for a
It's been a
second.
long time since I've had one of those. Ska Brewing. Cannot get enough of it.
Ska Brewing. All right. For your two-tone sound and beers. Yeah, man. You know what you're missing out of your baseball jerseys? You don't have a jersey from the greatest team of all time and the winningest team in baseball right now, your New York Yankees. From my hometown, the Bronx,
I'm going to quote Doug Stanhope. This will be the only Doug Stanhope quote I ever use. Rooting for the Yankees is like rooting for the dealer at a casino.
Yes.
It's like you're standing there. Oh, you're busted, bitch. I got my dealer jersey on. He busted you. Get out of there.
Yes. I'm from New York. I'm from the Bronx, New York, and all my formative baseball memories are mostly Yankee ones. So I apologize.
I'm making fun of Keefe and making, funny faces. If you're watching on YouTube, watch on YouTube.
I deserve.
Which also, we're getting more views on YouTube each week, which is awesome. Yeah. But the Cardinals are just the National League Yankees.
Yes, they are, and it
with
was
less money.
It's a shame they never got to face off. Back in the day, in the 80s.
In the 80s, yeah.
In the 80s, yeah, the 60s, we know what happened. But yeah. But that was after like the Yankees dominated like every decade but the 80s. So the 80s is the time I would have liked to have seen that like triumphant. Like imagine that 80s Yankees with Mattingly and Winfield against in St. Louis on the turf against the greatest show on turf. That would have been insane.
Whitey ball, not greatest show on turf. That was Rams. That would have the Yankees would have lost that series for one reason and one reason only.
I can't play small ball.
You couldn't play long ball in that stadium.
No. Even with the guys the Yankees had, no.
Right. At that time, center field was 414 feet, which is insane. And the air's really heavy here. The stadium was completely enclosed, so there was never wind. So basically, you had to be able to drive a baseball 500 feet in any other ballpark to get it out.
I mean, they could have, but the Yankees had the hitters back then, but just like they were not going to win that kind of game against that kind of team. But it still would have been a great series, I think.
Here's a factoid. The Cardinals have been in 3 stadiums so far. Sportsman's Park, Busch Stadium, and Busch Stadium. Actually, it's August A. Busch Memorial Stadium and Busch Stadium. Major League Baseball would not allow Gussie Busch Jr. to name the stadium Busch Stadium. So he named it after his father, August A. Busch, which is funny now when you think about it. But the year the Cardinals moved into Busch Stadium and the year the Cardinals moved into Busch Stadium, they won the World Series each time. 1964 and 2006.
Interesting. Regaling our fans with baseball they did not pay for. They came here. No,
let's move on from baseball because right now, as we record this, the Blues are down 2-1 in their series against Minnesota, and they're losing players left and right. So we've probably lost this series. We'll see what happens by the time it comes out. But I'm going to move on to my vinyl check if you are good with that.
I'm good with that.
I almost had a very small one, but I ended up getting out of the office yesterday and picking a couple of things up. First one I have is Wild Gift by X. They are touring this summer with Psychedelic Furs. And for some reason, I cannot get my wife to say she wants to go, being as she loves both of those bands. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That one I got for $9 plus shipping off Discogs. Now, these other two are in the wild finds at an antique. First being Heart Dreamboat Annie.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're watching, $15.
Nice.
A little pricier than I would normally pay. But when you find it in the wild, you got to give it up. Nice gatefold.
Oh, wow.
Record is in here, and I did check it.
And arguably their best record. Their first big hit record, if I'm not mistaken.
This is an original pressing-ish.
Oh, shit. Yeah, wow.
On Mushroom Records.
Look at that shroom. I want to eat that shroom.
I wonder what that shroom is all about. I wonder if they're secret message, maybe?
They did a lot of shrooms and other stuff back then.
Yes,
Art
they did.
Is borderline underrated somehow. I don't know how, but people don't mention them when they mention the greatest bands from the 70s.
Because it's two women.
That sucks. I hate people.
But
I
this, I
love
would
Heart and I
agree.
hate people.
Would agree. This is probably their best record. It's got Magic Man, Crazy on You. There's another one.
Ooh, is Barracuda's not on that one?
Barracuda's not on this one.
Barracuda's on the next one.
Now, my last record for the week. This one is something that I should have picked up a long time ago.
Oh, wow. Tell people what it is.
It is Arlo Guthrie's Alice's Restaurant. And does he even have any other records?
I mean, compilations and greatest hits, sure.
Which is just basically this record.
Tell our listeners about Arlo Guthrie. They may not be acquainted.
This has the greatest song of all time. Alice's Restaurant. The greatest song about dodging the draft.
The world. Yeah.
There we go. It's the greatest song about dodging the draft and Thanksgiving.
It's better.
In St. Louis on KG95, every Thanksgiving at noon, they play the entirety of Alice's Restaurant. Never the 22-minute version.
Because somebody needs to take a shit. That's what happens when they play a whole album.
No, this is tradition. And then on Black Friday at noon, they call it Leftovers, and they play it again.
Fuck Black Friday. Arlo Guthrie would hate the idea of Black Friday just immensely. Like,
I know. They don't play it because it's not a commercial thing. They just play it again because they only play it twice a year. It's those two times.
I get it.
This is also the same station that on Easter every year plays the entirety of Jesus Christ Superstar.
That's
which
different.
I am going to see next year finally for the first time.
Oh, amazing. I just saw it a couple of months ago in San Fran at the final date of the tour.
If we're talking Broadway, I just saw Hamilton.
You said that.
I did not say that on the podcast.
Waste my shot.
What?
I'm not going to waste my shot.
I did not waste my shot. And the lady next to me who was very ill did not waste her shot to get me sick.
She should not have come to the show. She's an asshole.
Yeah, this is the second time I have gotten sick by an old lady at Broadway play. The other one wasn't worth it. It was Anything Goes. Anything Goes, and I went at intermission. I went.
You went. I love Anything Goes. I saw that as a kid with Gwen Verdon.
You know what? Maybe I should try it again when I don't have a lady who sounds like she's dying next to me. I mean, it sounded like
escorted her out. Actually,
sounded like this wasn't COVID times, but still, it sounded like a death rattle every time she was laughing. I apologize. Last week you held off on your vinyl check, so go ahead and give it to me this week.
I held off on the vinyl check. I have my vinyl check today, and I've actually had this for a few weeks in hand, listened to it several times. This is the brand new album from Meshuggah, Immutable, out on Atomic Fire Records. Comes in the gorgeous double vinyl LP. It's a pretty long album.
Nice.
So I'm just gonna, the gatefold, kind of dark artwork, hard to kind of tell.
I like that artwork.
There's a poster, the full album cover as a poster, which I think I just bent because I'm off my game.
I love that color scheme.
So they came in many vinyl variants. It's basically a extrapolated Man on Fire. And then I'm just going to pull out one because these are identical. They came on multiple vinyl variants. I got the translucent red. Nice. So we're going to pull that out.
Well, I recall hearing, I believe it was Trevor from Black Dahlia Murder talking about how one of the ways they make money is by selling 50 variants of everything. Oh, that is gorgeous.
Is that not gorgeous? I'm trying to catch it. The light refracting off of it. Lovely. Sounds great. Plays great. Meshuggah, pretty much one of the most flawless bands ever. Fun fact about Trevor, who's a homie, Trevor is now appearing in his girlfriend's OnlyFans movies. So if you've ever wanted to see Trevor naked...
I figured you were going to drop that. I was going to choose... And I mean, it's not like we're talking out of school. He posted it on Twitter.
If you ever wanted to see me bone my chick, here's your chick. I was like, oh my God, dude. But, if anyone can get away with it, it's him.
Look, I am never going to throw any shade at anybody making $1, showing off their business.
Sex work is good work. I'm all about it. It's not a crime.
Sex work is good work, and that's fine. Yeah. But I would have a hard time hearing those death metal growls and not thinking of as Willie.
Well, now I'm going to I want to watch it and put on Black Dahlia Murder and just be like, junk, bum.
Real quick. I first heard of Black Dahlia Murder when I saw them in concert opening for King Diamond on their very first tour.
That's amazing.
Just going to throw that out there. I only saw the last like 3 songs and hated it, but I was there.
Oh, all right then.
I love them now.
They're terrific. Yeah, they're terrific.
Sorry, continue with your vinyl check if you got anything else.
That is what I have for today.
All right.
I'm not stocking up as heavily since I have a move coming soon, and I haven't been out of the house in a few days anyway. So even if I had a chance,
I have a couple that I won't talk about today. I got a couple incoming this week, finishing up some stuff.
Did you buy anything for Bandcamp Friday?
I didn't. I haven't bought anything on a Bandcamp Friday in a while. Right now we are paying for the kids' camps and still moving stuff and taxes on a soft spot in the budget. So
got it.
So everything I'm buying right now is pretty low dollar, low rent stuff.
I feel like we have one news item we have to talk about.
I've got one I have to talk about too.
800-pound gorilla in the room. But I'll let you go first.
Well,
might be the same as mine.
It's not. I'm sure it's not. If it is, I'll be surprised because this doesn't even go out to the press. So the Vinnie Vincent Creatures Fest has the latest news. I am following this story closely because I love a train wreck, and this is going to be a train wreck. This is even going to be a train wreck too. They announced in around the 14th or 15th. They announced major announcement on May 1st. May 1st comes. They announce, sorry, we've been invited to a Jack Black concert. We'll announce this later. Which is the most professional thing I've ever heard.
Jack Black is awesome.
Not Jack Black, Jack White. I'm sorry. Did I say Jack Black?
Oh, yes, you said Jack Black. I'd rather see Jack Black than Jack White. Even though
I love Jack White's solo. I'm not a big fan of
he has 2 new albums out there. Both, I've heard one. One's incredible. The new one's not out yet, I think.
Okay, I haven't actually listened to anything since Lazaretto, but anyway. So yeah. So they're like, oh, sorry, we'll announce the new time for the announcement later. They announced it last night. So here is the latest announcement at the Vinnie Vincent Creatures Fest in Nashville, where they're going to recreate the entire the entire Rio de Janeiro Creatures Fest, Creatures of the Night tour show with the tank. And they've shown the tank, and it looks awesome, and it's got great pyro. That certainly is not going to go into the Nashville Airport Hotel, which is where this is being held. It's called Airport Hotel. But they have announced that Vinnie Vincent, Bruce Kulick, and Ace Frehley will now perform as the Unholy Trinity together on stage for the first time. And I'm like, okay,
no one asked for this, though.
Oh my God, people are going crazy on the Kiss forum. But nobody else has heard of it, so nobody else is going crazy. Or I think most people would say, who are these people? I love Ace Frehley. I love Bruce Kulick. I'm mildly intrigued by Vinnie. Actually, I'm extraordinarily intrigued by the saga that is Vinnie Vincent.
You better be extraordinarily intrigued how much time we're spending on this.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to stop.
I don't want you to stop. You have to keep going. It's like
we will talk about every piece of news that comes out of this thing. And Peter Criss is also going to be there. Supposedly. He's going to sing a song with Ace, probably Strange Ways. But so Ace Frehley, who's about 4 years past expiry date in terms of musical qualities. Sorry, it's true. Love him to death. But if you've heard, his last album was auto-tuned. They had to auto-tune his vocals because he can't. I think what it is he can't hear anymore, so he can't stay in tune.
The Bon Jovi conundrum.
Correct.
And you have, if you can't hear yourself.
Then you have Vinnie Vincent, who has not played a legitimate concert in over 35 years.
Right.
Who, anytime we have seen him playing, struggles to strum along power chords. Yeah. Who has canceled more shows than he in the last 2 years
ever played.
Yeah, he keeps doing these shows, and the Vinnie Vincent people get crazy and happy, and he's gonna show you it's gonna be Shred Town and full shred and with all these D's and F's. I mean, I don't understand it. It's like written in purple, and then he pulls out, and then they go, "Well, he was smart to pull out."
You know, we really respect you, bro. Whenever you come back to us, we'll be here.
Oh yeah, these guys are these people are waiting. I have seen people compare the Vinnie Vincent Invasion album to Led Zeppelin 1.
Yes.
Not even touching that.
I'll say this. I'll say this. Like Jake E. Lee is a guy that has had tremendous bad luck with his health and being able to play gigs, and I would forgive him any trespass because he still has a proven track record as Jake E. Lee, no matter what.
Right. Vinny
And
won't
Vinny
let.
does not.
He's playing these bash shows for like 30 people that cost $500 to get in. You're not allowed to film it, and he won't show like even a preview or anything. The first one of these, you actually had to go to Nashville and you got a text message to tell you where it was. It was
like
so
a hotel
secretive.
Ballroom.
It was SIR Rehearsal Studios is where he holds them.
Well, I mean, it ain't cheap, but
no. And one guy talked about how great the salad was at this. I'm not kidding. Salad, like over and over, like 10 minutes on salad. So you have Vinny, who nobody even knows if he can play. You have Ace, who we all know can't play anymore, and he can't even keep up the tempos of the mid tempo rockers he's known for. Then you have Bruce Kulick, who's the consummate professional who has been consistently gigging for the past 25 years. Sorry, Bruce.
30. More than 30.
He had a 3 or 4 year break.
Did he? Okay.
But then he ended up joining, I guess he's been in Grand Funk for like 20 years now.
Yeah.
Well, and then he was in Union for a while. I mean, he has released more music.
I have the most expectations of Bruce to come to a show ready. To anybody else.
Well, and he's doing a Bruce Kulick solo show, which basically they play all the 80s stuff that Kiss can't play anymore. Okay, that's my news. Was it the same news?
No.
I didn't think so.
The 800-pound gorilla in the room is that Judas Priest has made the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Win, lose, or draw. Love it or hate it. I say cheers. That's worth raising a beer to. The mighty.
Cheers, Judas Priest.
But then there's the whole second part of that, which is they did not. So I don't care for the Halls of Fame. I don't care for Halls of Fame, as we discussed multiple times. Awards and Halls of Fame are fun talking about more than they are. Do I care that they get in? They got in. They didn't get in on a technicality. They got in. There are categories to get in on, and the main category is the performer category. That is the typical one everyone gets in on. Judas Priest did not get in this category. They got in the musical excellence category, along with Jam and Lewis, who produced Janet Jackson records in the 80s. So it's not a slap at people are taking it very personally. Why are they not as good as Eminem and Pat Benatar and Carly Simon and whoever, Duran Duran and Eurythmics, who all got in under the regular award? Why do they have to get in on the secondary level of awards? They're in. That's what matters. If you care about this thing, care that they're in. I didn't think they were getting in. They were like almost dead last in the fan vote. The fans didn't even come out. The fan vote doesn't count, but it is a barometer of kind of
what
interest.
The fan vote. What it did when Kiss got in was the fan vote. The two highest members of the winners of the fan vote got to put into the nomination pool.
I'm going to say the fan vote counts for 1% of 1% of the votes. It does not actually matter. Kiss got in because they got in. They sold the most records of any rock band ever, and they deserve to be in. Then they continued to shit on the Hall of Fame after they got in. I regret them getting in now, especially Paul. Just shut up, dude. You're in.
But also, every night on stage, Paul says, "You are looking at a band in the Rock and Roll Hall."
But he also hates them. So like, be quiet. Either take the W or don't care at all. You can't do both. Steve Miller was like, I don't give a shit either way, and did not change his tune after he got in. He's like, I still don't care. So like, be one way, don't be two-faced.
Look, the only person whose opinion on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame I respect completely is Axl Rose. Because Axl Rose says, you can't induct me. And they said, yes, we can. And he said, I'm not showing up anyway, so
will not be
whatever
there.
You want.
Yeah. And they basically
he was not there. And then Miles Kennedy stood in for him.
Miles Kennedy should just be the de facto guy. Every time someone doesn't want to come in, just have him come in and sing. He's great. But so Priest is in. There are very few heavy metal bands in. Look, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is not really the Rock and Roll or Metal Hall of Fame. There is a Heavy Metal Hall of Fame, by the way, run out of Europe and New Jersey.
Yeah. There is also there's one in California as well. Or no, I'm
they're the
sorry.
same organization. They have
Is
the
it?
annual thing in. They do an annual thing at NAM in the winter when they have a winter NAM. They didn't this year, and they have an annual thing on stage at Vaughan. It's the same organization, the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame. You guys can
Yeah,
look it up.
I saw Axl Rose receive a Lifetime Achievement Award,
Right.
which I
So
thought is hysterical. He could have gotten the 1987 Achievement Award, and it would have been the same thing.
whatever. About Priest, this is important.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
So just like again, if you're a fan and you care, they're in, and that's all there is to it. There's no
Agreed.
backhanded
Agreed.
slap. It doesn't matter. They're in. They're gonna be in. They're gonna perform. It's gonna be very awkward on stage when KK shows up. Rob already said publicly we'd love to play with Ken at the Hall of Fame. It's just about the music. It doesn't matter about the drama. People are angry that Richie is not getting in. Richie doesn't care. I just did an interview with him when he was like, I hope we don't get in. It only matters to the other guys in the band. I don't care personally. So he doesn't care about being in or not or whatever. But
there's a lot of drama when it comes to replacement members and
who's chosen to be in, and it's meant to be the classic lineup. Ripper is not being inducted, and people are mad about Ripper not being inducted. People don't even like those records. I like those records, and I love Ripper as a singer. Maybe some of the other stuff I could leave out, but like Priest should have been in for the 70s and 80s anyway. And you really,
Agreed.
The last 25, 27 years of the band, do they really matter in terms of them being a Hall of Fame band? No. So don't get mad. Don't get your jimmies rustled. They're in. Be glad. Who's not in is a bigger source of contention among rock and metal fans. Yes, Iron Maiden is not in. They were not nominated. They haven't actually been nominated ever. Rage Against the Machine has been nominated 3 times and never got in. Something is wrong here. Again, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has never been exclusively rock or metal. Certainly not metal, with only a handful of true metal bands in the whole thing. And I don't know how many.
Well, I mean, I would also make the argument that the rock and roll is a term for a genre of music that no longer exists.
Yeah.
And has not existed in 60 years.
Yeah. So anyway. I don't.
It's the American Popular Music Hall of Fame.
That would have been a great name for it. Dolly, for example, I adore, love, wonder. She's a treasure. She might make a rock album now that she's in. She got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She originally said she would not accept and asked to be removed, and then she changed her mind. I'm sure they basically probably be like, "You're getting in. Don't fuck this up." So, Dolly is Dolly. She can do whatever she wants. She's a pop icon. She's a country icon. She can do whatever she wants. She's a treasure. She, donated millions of dollars of her own money for education and healthcare, including the pandemic. So, we love Dolly here. And
I agree. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a lot easier to stomach if you just consider rock and roll to be a term for non-classical music.
There it is. And so, just calm down, everybody. The Priest are in. That's a good thing. Some bands are not in. That kind of sucks. Most of the bands we love are never getting in. Bands that we talk about on this podcast, probably not getting in. Next up, Rage Against the Machine is a terrible oversight. Iron Maiden, if Priest is in, Iron Maiden should be in just as a cosign.
Agreed.
Alice in Chains, Soundgarden have to be in if Pearl Jam, Nirvana are in. And then it becomes like, I don't know who you put in under rock and metal. Maybe Slipknot, Stone Sour. I don't know who else is big enough.
I mean, the way I look at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, there are 2 ways of getting in. You get in as somebody who changed the world, or you get in as somebody who with the numbers. We have talked about the one band with the numbers. That's Metallica. Nobody else really has the numbers.
Yeah, that's also true. Probably Slipknot. And then in the modern era of this last 20 years, I really can't name one band. I have really Avenged Sevenfold is a maybe. They've had one dud album in there that really set them back.
And I mean, think about black metal, right? We could be seeing first wave or second wave black metal now going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's been long enough.
Yeah, that just will never vote those bands in. They just won't.
Right. I mean, I could see a case made for Mayhem. I could see a case made for Venom as world changers.
As a Hall of Fame, both those bands, I think, are in the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame.
Right, I'm sure they are.
And then in terms of your other big 4 thrash bands, maybe Slayer because of reputation, not because of any other reason.
I cannot
doubt they will get in.
I personally,
vote?
if I'm on the panel, no.
Well, what do we say, right? What do we say when we were doing the nomination rundown? It's either an automatic yes or it's a no. I can't believe you don't think Slayer should be in. I think they should be in.
They don't have the numbers. They
innovated a whole style of metal.
No, they didn't.
Sure, they did.
They jumped on when it was new.
They are one of the
put Megadeth in before them.
They are one of the innovators of thrash metal and arguably influenced more death metal than the first death metal bands.
I'm not saying I don't absolutely love them, because I do. Yeah. But I just...
It's a short list. There's really going to be no other bands getting in.
In terms of a Hall of Fame for music in general, no. Not even close. Disagree. They don't have it for me.
I respectfully disagree, sir. But okay.
Fair enough. But
it's an automatic yes for me.
Let's circle around to what we're talking about. We are now talking about from what I have heard described as, a first-generation black metal band. Don't know how anybody got to that point, but I would also make the argument that first-generation black metal is actually Nawabum. But they just liked the term black metal, Venom.
Yeah, it's Venom's fault.
It is Venom's fault. But pagan metal, gothic metal, harpsichordian metal, metal with an acoustic guitar. I guess technically they're also folk metal. They're Danish folk metal. These are Danish folk songs.
Horror folk.
We are now on to the reunion era of Mercyful Fate. We started last week with King Diamond's last solo album before the reunion and the first reunion release album. The Mercyful Fate reunion is considered to have begun in 1992. Don't know how, because there's no concerts.
There wasn't? What? You sure?
I Googled and Googled. I find
feel nothing. Like they went on tour to support Metallica on the Black Album in Europe, and then they did the album.
They did, but that tour was the Black Album tour did a year and a half in the States first.
Okay.
So it's like San Diego from the box set was November of 91.
Okay.
I think it was November 91. And then the earliest tour dates I could find from them were Memorial Day weekend, which it was not because this was in Europe. Memorial Day weekend in 1993, a week before the album dropped. So I guess the reunion involved putting together the unreleased tapes from Return of the Vampire, which we discussed last week, and then they did it right, I think. They did it the way Van Halen always said they would have done it with David Lee Roth had they done it. If we were to do it, we would do this. Then they got back together with David Lee Roth and did not do that. But that's besides the point. This is one of the only times I can name where a band reunited, did a record, and then did a tour.
Yeah, that's the way you should do it. But sometimes the problem is the money of a tour is really hard to turn down.
No, I think the way you should do it personally, reunion tour, live album, studio.
Here's a question for you. Personally, my recollection of this era is a little fuzzy.
Oh, mine's very fuzzy.
King was doing really well, though, solo. Why did he reunite at this point with the guys?
Really well?
That's pretty well.
He was selling about 50,000 copies of his albums in the 80s. So King Diamond, as a solo artist, was always super niche. Why did he do this? Here's my opinion. And King, if you're listening, I know you live near Dallas, so never mind. My opinion is by doing the reunion, he could double dip. He could double dip nightly, which is what he did most of these tours. They would do a tour where King Diamond would be a co-headliner to Mercyful Fate. So King gets a double dip on. He gets probably 50% of the King Diamond proceeds and 25% or 20% of the Mercyful Fate proceeds, thereby making the most money. And the fan base is the same fan base, but then you can also charge more for the tickets. Not that ticket prices for, like, Mercyful Fate on this tour played, I believe, Mississippi Nights in St. Louis, which is a 1,200 capacity club that no longer exists. It's like the size of like the auxiliary buildings in your school, in your high school. Great venue. Lots of amazing acts played there. Beastie Boys, Morbid Angel, Slayer. I saw Frente there. I mean, everyone's played there.
Frente.
Chili Peppers played there completely
Metal.
nude except with socks. I mean, it was a very historic, prestigious club, but it wasn't big. This is before we started getting the bigger clubs. But if you get, so they're probably selling tickets for $25, which in that time is a princely sum for a club show. Very little stage setup, very little, no pyro, no major production costs, and King Diamond gets to pocket it. And then as time goes on, as we discussed last week, the Merciful Fate reunion was just like the Merciful Fate breakup. They parted out slowly. There were like 3 dudes from Merciful Fate on the first 2 King Diamond albums. And then with each successive album, one more leaves, and then he's replaced by one more dude. It got to the point where Merciful Fate and King Diamond only had one dude different. Right. So it was the entire band except for, was it Hank Sherman, I believe?
Right. Hank is the reason for this. Hank and King are the reason for the split in the first place. Hank wanted to make more kind of commercial heavy metal, which is very apparent whenever you hear a song he writes. He writes these big, gangly choruses that are incredible to sing along to. And Michael Denner is much more savage and writes the riff, heavy metal, almost thrash metal stuff.
Right. So that's my opinion as to why he would have done this, because it's not like anything was going sour in King Diamond world at this point. He's selling his 50,000 copies. He's doing his little tours, and he does the tour with Merciful Fate on the next run through and playing the exact same venues that he played last week. So, but I just think he was able to get out to score a couple more bucks. But let's discuss.
Yeah, man. In the Shadows. Yeah, man. This is the official comeback. Return of the Vampire, as we said last week. We covered it. It was Odds and Sods, as my British
Odds and Sods. Yes, it is.
It's Odds and Sods, including an appearance from Lars Ulrich.
No, that's in the Shadows.
Oh, is that on here?
That's on here.
Is it on here? Okay, I thought it was.
The song is on both of them.
That's it. Okay.
But the new version is the one with Lars is on this one.
Oh, right then. On the bonus track, officially.
The bonus track, yes. And I bought this on cutout back in the day.
Yo, nice. Yeah, I had the cassette. But it's weird because this was a weird time for me when I was into a lot of other stuff. So while I got this when it came out and I jammed it out pretty hard and enjoyed it, and some of the best Merciful Fate stuff is on here, to be honest.
Completely agree.
Yeah, this is one of their best records. I kind of went out away from me quick because this was also like Pantera time for me.
Yeah.
And Prong and White Zombie and Helmet and a lot of New York hardcore and a lot of death metal at this time I was kind of ingesting.
Oh, yeah. 1992, in 1992, we have Seasons in the Abyss. We have we have Vulgar Display of Power.
Dirt by Alice in Chains.
Yeah, Dirt by Alice in Chains. We have Black Sabbath returning to Dio,
right,
with Dehumanizer.
Right.
We have Bad Motorfinger, Morbid Angel, Covenant,
which is their best record.
Sure. By far. I mean, it's their only good record. I'm sorry.
Dominion is pretty good.
It's not as good as this. I mean, it's not,
but
they're by far their best. It's their classic. It's their Legion. Yeah. I think Legion came out this year too. Cause of Death.
Right.
I mean, there are so many classic metal albums that come out in 1992 is probably the greatest single year for metal.
We said we might do a year by year battle at some point.
I don't know. Based on what we just fucked out, 92 has already won.
It's kind of true.
And so then you have, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I can't think my words to make my face work. So I'm going to use my hands. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see my hands going. In 1992, there was a great renaissance of the old school with a birth of the new school. That was it was a transformative year where the elder giants got one more hurrah But all this new stuff, this thrash metal thing finally broke out. Death metal breaks out. Black metal starts making its way to these shores. And then you have Mercyful Fate, a band almost nobody's heard of, getting no play. So this album, yes, it came and went, period.
But it is a killer album. And
it's unfortunate that this happened. In fact, I should have done this album on the Department of Metal Antiquities with Duncan, but missed that boat. So we'll do it here.
I don't feel like he's a huge King Diamond Mercyful Fate fan at all.
You know what? I'm going to make him do 9.
Oh, Jesus.
We'll get to...
The poor bastard. Come on. He's got the COVID. Give him a break.
He does have COVID. We recorded an episode
soon,
today.
Duncan.
He's feeling worse.
He might have got sick by covering Desert Fest for Ghost Cult, by the way. I hope he didn't, but they have a good
he went to Nick Mason last night.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you like Nick Mason, check out, he talks about it quite a bit in the episode we recorded, which will have already been released 2 weeks before this actually comes out. So
yeah.
Enjoy that, everyone. So on this album, and I don't think we need to go through track by track so diligently on this one. I would throw out.
This is the one I would do the track by track versus.
Oh, if you want to do it, we'll do it. No, never mind. We'll go ahead. I take that back. I'm just trying to get my. There we go. Go away. There we go. So it starts off with Egypt. Egypt is a great track. Starts off, and this is a recurring theme on this album. It starts off with acoustic guitar. These little arpeggios, dude. These little creepy arpeggios. Sounds like there's like one note that's like a half step off to give it that horror, that psycho kind of feel. That, and it's great. However, they're not singing about Satan. In fact, they are singing a religious song praising and worshiping the gods of Egypt. So
the gods of death of Egypt.
So what the fuck? This is a proper worship song. This is a church song. What the fuck?
I just watched all of Moon Knight on Disney Plus, and this is the perfect song. You hate Moon Knight?
I can't take Oscar Isaac's English accent seriously.
Okay,
that's the only thing. I can't get past that. It sounds like a really great idea, but his Cockney is so awful.
It's pretty bad, but it's so hard to pull off that show and that character that I'm really thrilled they did it. But anyway, if you've been watching Moon Knight, literally this song name checks half of things going on in Moon Knight, by the way.
Oh, yeah. This song helped me pass a test in ancient world history.
That's insane.
He sings about the gods and talks about them. Anubis is devouring my heart. There you go.
Yeah.
It's all in there.
This is a great album opener. This is a great song. I would say the first half of the first side of this album, I put it up against anything from King or Mercyful Fate. It's arguably
the only Mercyful Fate album, in my humble opinion, that surpasses this one is the debut.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah,
because the debut is the only other one that's all killer. No
which
killer.
They don't think they thought it was like the step to something else, but yeah. Yeah, Egypt is a badass track. Great riffs. You're going to say that over and over. Sherman and Denner on their back united on the riffs.
These two guys on their worst night, drunk and strung out on coke, could just fart out a classic record.
They really could. They can write any kind of song.
And then it moves on into the best song on the album, The Bell Witch.
Far and away. Probably my favorite King Diamond song, actually, ever. Like, I love the Bell Witch lore. If you don't know, look it up. Google it. Use your Google Magic to look up what the Bell Witch is. The Bell Witch haunting. And, yeah, fantastic, right?
There are a couple... Is this the one... Yeah, on this... No, I'm sorry. Next week. I'll get to that next week. But, no, great song. Amazing song. If you don't like this song, you'll never... like King Diamond or Mercyful Fate, because it's just top notch. I mean, I could tell you that, oh my god, the solos are great, the riffs are awesome. We know that. I mean, that's what these guys do. It's like James Hetfield. Give him a guitar, say you got 30 seconds, write a song. It's like Tony Iommi. You got anything? Here's 50 riffs. That's these guys. It's like having two Tony Iommis or having two James Hetfields being able to shit out riffs and
two Adrian Smiths.
Yeah, two Adrian Smiths. Wait, what? Anyway, moving on. Next song, The Old Oak, another great song. This is one of the two really long progressive songs. It's about haunting a hanging tree. I don't know what led him to that conclusion, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, Old Oak almost has like a Black Sabbath riff in it at one point. That really like it's almost like a head nodding mid-70s Sabbath jam.
Definitely. Then we move on into The Shadows. This is probably the worst song on the album. When I was 19 and listening to this on the bus, looking around everybody going, "You don't understand me. In the shadows, I'm alive. In the shadows, I'm outside." I mean, it's kind of like Morbid Angels, Sworn to the Black. You listen to that song, you got your headphones on, you're just like, yeah. And then you like say the lyrics out loud and you're like, this is not nearly the genius that I thought it was. That's kind of this one.
It's fair.
Great. Still a good song. It's just, it's foreshadowing.
Very
Anything
fair.
on that one?
No, I mean, yeah, it's weaker than the rest, but it's not terrible.
Right.
And I think maybe it would have been better like a minute shorter.
Yeah, that's Merciful Fate songs either should be 3 minutes or 40. But you have to know.
Yeah, or 8.
Right. Or 12. Satan's Fall is 12.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the Old Oak is 8, almost 9. So
yeah. Then moving on into A Gruesome Time. This one harkens back a lot more to classic Merciful Fate than the rest of this record. It has that very raw, that nearly black metal guitar tone. Not the best, better than the one before it.
Nice, and it's the only solo Denner. Maybe the others.
There's a couple.
The Golden Air one is also Denner, but this is like a full-fledged Denner composition by himself, which he doesn't have a lot of in the band. So I think they really tried to do between the Holy Trinity of Diamond, Sherman, and Denner. They tried to really have a democratic process for the first time ever. Maybe trying to soothe the old wounds a little bit, and Sherman also co-produced the whole album with King. So. And Slagle, apparently Brian Slagle and Tim Kimsey. So
I didn't know Brian Slagle had a producing
on this. Yeah, maybe he helped bring them back together.
I mean, just ever. I didn't know he.
He's produced a lot of records. His name is on the production of
enough.
A lot of records. I don't know how much he.
I am sure that he also had quite a lot to do with getting them back together because at this time, between The Eye and Return of the Vampire, there was that's when they went to Metal Blade. There was an album, a greatest hits album released called A Dangerous Meeting, which was half Merciful Fate, half King Diamond, which was actually the first Merciful Fate music I owned personally.
Cool.
So, but yeah, and I once he got King Diamond to jump, I think that's when he started putting a little bug in his ear. You know what we should do? I love Andy. Andy's great, but all those other dudes just keep coming and going. We should get the band back together. And they nearly did it. This is the closest they came to a full Merciful Fate reunion.
Yeah, it's pretty much is.
It does not have the drummer.
Well,
it's got Snowy Shaw on the drums, whom I routinely confuse with Snowy White. Sorry, if you are in rock or metal, you should not have used the name Snowy if you were not Snowy White.
Yeah, probably. But
he was first. I mean, it's like it should be, like the Oscars, the Screen Actors Guild. Only one person gets that name.
That's it.
But next track on this one, 13
Flip the record.
Yeah, is it Flip It?
I think this is the flip point. It was on the cassette.
Yeah, because it's 10 tracks, so that's probably about right. 13 invitations. Now we're finally getting into Satan. So we're singing to this really crazy song about Satan inviting 13 people to a thing. Okay, whatever. We'll do that. We got more roughness. We got more solos. And, that's cool. That's great. These are really good tracks. What you got?
Yeah, I agree. Definitely strong, good second side opener, and really good lyrics for the king.
Completely agree. Next is the other Michael Denner, A Room Full of Golden Air. Again, it starts
Whatever the
off.
shit that's about.
What the hell's golden air?
No idea.
Nothing? Anybody got? Okay, if you know what golden air is, this is a reference to
Maybe it's a
something.
Satanism reference, like a book of Church of
Could you
Satan.
please send me an email, write a comment on the video? This is a great point. Like, share, subscribe, whatever. Do that. But tell me what golden air. I mean, is that cocaine?
I don't know.
I mean, that could be cocaine.
Golden Schneef.
Golden booger sugar.
Yeah, it's a pretty good instrumental as far as they go. There wasn't a lot of instrumental stuff going on in the early 90s. It was kind of a get away from the instrumental. But it's short. It's only 3 minutes long.
And again, I like this one. It's a nice respite because you have King Diamond. Basically, I envision King Diamond in the makeup at all times. I mean, I don't picture him without it.
Mowing his lawn.
Oh, yeah.
Fishing leaves out of the swimming pool with the thing.
And screaming in a falsetto the entire time. And if you come up to him, I picture him, squealing.
He's making the faces,
yeah. But, and like a close talker doing it to you, to like be wearing a cape.
I'm too sick to do any kind of standard imitation of the king, but just use your imagination, listeners and watchers.
Yeah, I can't do mine either because I got this throat.
But I do kind of feel like, imagine Kim around the house, Kim Bendix around the house in Texas, in like khakis and an Izod polo shirt with the makeup on and the hat, and he's like at the grill, and even his grill has like the bone cross, but it's a spatula.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I imagine. King Diamond mowing the lawn in face paint,
and the handle is the bones.
Yep.
Picture him at the golf course. Instead of having putter covers, it's bones. It's like skulls, little baby skulls.
Instead of a club sock, it's a human foot.
Yeah,
bloody human foot.
I'm gonna quote Mitch Hedberg right now. A human foot is the ultimate stocking stuffer.
So, I did not expect to laugh this much considering how crummy I feel. That's great. Thank you.
There's a Mitch Hedberg joke for all occasions.
For everything.
And so, I mean, it's, you have King Diamond. Basically, I think there was makeup on the microphone, not because he was so close to it, but because he screamed it off of his face and onto the microphone. So it's nice to have 3 minutes of
nothing. Just guitar.
Okay. Guitar, a lot of acoustics. Again, this album is full of acoustics, and there was nary a Taylor or Martin anywhere near the studios when these guys did their first couple records. So it's a nice evolution. It's more than just lyrical. It is a musical evolution of this band, and that's really cool. So it's really great. And then cool stuff. And then we move on to Legend of the Headless Rider, another long one, good, progressive, Mercyful Fate. I mean, they're just going to give you what they got, and it makes sense if they're going to sing about a dude without a head.
I am a big fan of the Legend of the Headless Horseman. I imagine this is probably meant to be some kind of similar ode,
but scary,
but scarier. And again, a Sherman music composition, and a very fine track. Probably should have ended the record on this track, actually.
Could have ended the record on this track, but they didn't.
Should have.
Then they do the sequel to Melissa. Now, I did say the first record was all killer, no filler. Melissa might be the exception to that. Don't know that I need that particular track. I also really don't need them King Diamond continuing to play that song. Like on the King Diamond Songs for the Dead or Lullabies for Deadly, whatever, the last one. Oh yeah, because one was Songs for the Dead, one was Lullabies for the Dead. I mean, come on, get better titles. But he did 2 Mercyful Fate songs, just like More Mercy, and then he does Melissa, and I'm like, what the actual fuck were you thinking? Who wrote this down? Who did anyway? So then, what we definitely don't need is a sequel to that song. And here he is. Is that you, Melissa? It
Is
doesn't
that
matter.
you, Sandy Claus?
I mean, isn't Melissa
That would be a better song. Actually, I kind of really want King Diamond to do Nightmare Before Christmas songs now. But like, yeah, this is not good. This is not. I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
mean,
I know there's going to
isn't
be people who like. There are people who love Unforgiven and Unforgiven 2. This is not Unforgiven 2.
no. This is pointless.
Yeah,
It's
not a fan.
basically
This is the blemish on the record, to be
it's
honest.
the exact same thing as Unforgiven 2, except Unforgiven 2 was good.
Yeah.
So then we move on to the bonus track where Lars Ulrich gets to play with, I would not say an influence. I would not say
mentor.
a hero. I would not say Metallica was first.
Nah, but like, no, he knew.
A fellow Dane.
Yeah, fellow. I mean, they're about the same age, but I feel like King was known. Lars was still in Europe and a European person resident when King's first band was making the rounds. They had to know each other. I mean, like.
Well, and I don't know, because I thought he came here when he was like 12.
Yeah, but I mean.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
He was back and forth a lot. He was 16 and he followed Motorhead all over Europe.
Oh.
So wow. Instead of playing tennis, what he was supposed to do.
And going to school.
Yeah, oops.
Yeah. Anyway, it worked out well. It's fine. I don't recommend that. I don't recommend that system for most people. But
it's a good track if you're a huge Metallica stan and you're an obsessive Metallica person. You want to hear it.
Yes.
You don't really notice if you go back to listen to the last record we did, which was the first. Like Return of the Vampires on there. Also, it's not any different.
It is. It is. This is a re-record, and like when I think I've told this before. The song "Mercyful Fate" by Metallica makes me angry. Because it's how good Mercyful Fate
should be,
but isn't. And this is like that compared to the Return of the Vampire version. They re-recorded it. They had a budget more than $68 or 68 Danish dollars or 68 cinnamon rolls. I don't know what a Danish dollar cinnamon roll is called. And so, and they had a producer
Kroners.
who wasn't what?
It's not Krullers, it's Kroners.
No, Kroners. That's Swedish.
They also have them in Copenhagen.
They have Kroners. They have
I have some here. So.
Okay, so their recording budget was more than 75 Danish krullers. So, and the producer, they had a producer.
Do Danishes come from Denmark, by the way? Not the people, the food.
Probably not.
I have to know this. Someone help me.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll go with yes. Because I feel better. What about Great Danes? Do those come from Denmark? Okay, we have a lot of questions. If anybody has answers, let us know. Anyway, so where was I? So then they could go in and record on Metal Blade's big shiny penny. Not that Metal Blade had that much money or has that much money, but it was a lot more money than these jackasses had back in the winter months in Denmark, recording on off-peak hours in February. So it sounds much better, but the problem is it's still the same song. And that song is not great. So when you say if you're a Metallica stan, this is for you.
Yeah, this is weird. Just looking at the. Yeah, it's not that great. Looking at the personnel on this record, for some reason, John Marshall. I forgot what band he was in, but
Metal Church.
So he was in Metal Church, right? And he was at this time. Not yet, or he was already working with Metallica as like their road tour.
He was James's guitar tech even back in the Puppets days.
So he plays on this album on is that you, Melissa? Unless there's two. I mean, John Marshall could be a very common name, but I have trouble believing on a record that Lars Ulrich is also on Metal Blade on a label he was on that it's not the same John Marshall, but there's a John Marshall playing harpsichord on track 9.
Wait a minute. So King Diamond didn't play the harpsichord?
He did on the first track. Yeah, it's on the first track.
No, this is bad.
He's definitely plays harpsichord on the next record. Also, weirdly, assistant engineering this record is Sterling Winfield from Pantera fame, which is weird because that's like their house guy for their whole life. He was like the third best friend of the fourth wheel best friend of the brothers Abbott and Rex Brown. So it's weird that he's on this also. So hey, good for him. And yeah.
But all in all, great record. It is the Merciful Fate's discography is littered with a lot of things like we're going to talk about next and things we talked about here. This is, this is definitely on the plus side of the ledger.
Yeah, I agree. Nothing else. I have no notes beyond.
Want to talk about the tour real quick. As I alluded to earlier, tour started right before the album dropped, which I think is awesome. And here is here's the set list from this show, from this tour. And let's see. So this is from October 21st, 1993 in Fort Lauderdale. 12 tracks, no encore. Doomed by the Living Dead, Curse of the Pharaohs, Bell Witch, Dangerous Meeting. Already, this is great, right? Could not get it. Only up from here, right? Next, Is That You, Melissa? Motherfucker. Then Gypsy. Well, okay, back on the right track. Can only go up, right? Right? Nope. Drum solo. Okay. Then we come back with Egypt, Kick Ass, Satan's Fall, Come to the Sabbath, Black Funeral, and it finishes off with quite possibly my favorite Mercyful Fate track, not named Satan's Fall, Evil. Now that is a set list.
That's a pretty good set list, except for Melissa. But if you're gonna have Melissa,
it's not even Melissa.
Is that you, Melissa? Not the right
drum
Melissa.
Solo.
And a drum solo is not necessary, especially with no encore.
12.
Okay.
I mean, it's 12 songs, but I mean, a bunch of those. There's 2 tracks right there that are 20 minutes alone.
I think, yeah.
If you get 90 minutes out of a band in a club, that's pretty good.
That is pretty good. Do we want to talk at all about the Bell Witch EP or skip right over?
Let's just skip that. It's just them.
I will also say that during the tour, Timmy Hansen leaves the band, and they get Charlie D'Angelo, later of Arch Enemy and Dismember and Witchery, to play bass live for them. He ends up playing quite a role in Mercyful Fate for quite a while.
That is really cool. So as it happened before, it happens again. We start parting out members, and so we move on to, and not gonna complain, but King Diamond, Mercyful Fate, they're working hard. Their next album comes out in October of '94, which is Time. Mm-hmm. So they start off with 92. They release a compilation of unreleased tracks. 93, they drop a brand new reunion record, go on tour, and then in 94 they drop another brand new studio record. So if you're a King Diamond Fate fan, this is the 90s, and we are about to talk about the 4th release of the 90s in 1994.
In 3 years.
That's pretty damn sweet.
Pretty great, yeah.
So let's talk about this one if we have to.
Yeah, sadly, this record is not nearly as good as the last one. They rushed
can I
this
say,
out.
I had never heard this album until this week.
Yeah.
Because I always assumed it was a later album and I just missed it. But it turns out, no, it actually, so here we are. So let's see. Here.
It's not a beer check. That's a Waterloo Cherry Limeade seltzer.
Seltzer?
I'm trying to make it through this pod
seltzer.
With all my willpower. I'm a seltzer fan. I don't know if you know this.
I don't.
Ghost Cult Magazine has an affiliate deal with Liquid Death. Use the code Ghost Cult Mag at checkout to get a free koozie pack.
Can you pause, please?
No. Hi.
Okay, so yeah, I always thought Time came later. I always thought the album that we're going to start with next week, Into the Unknown, was the next one, which I got that one contemporarily, ordered from Columbia House, I might add, because yeah. So let's start with this thing to begin with.
I listened to this once back then when it first came out. Occasionally heard another song here and there. Not a big lover of this record. Listened to it twice. Once earlier in the week and today again. So
I have tried so hard with this record in this past week is to break fourth wall for just a moment. we are actually recording this episode on Saturday. We usually record on Wednesdays. Things got real life got in the way. So, which gave me extra time to try to spin this thing and try to find something to love about it. No, I did not find that.
I would say we don't even have to do all the tracks. Let's just whiz through this as quickly as we can. Most of this is marginal, I'll be honest.
This is actually the album. This is the album that has the song Witches Dance, which I discussed that video, and it's like the worst King Diamond video of all time.
Which is really saying something.
Yeah, his videos are not good, which is unfortunate. His stage show is phenomenal.
My hope is that the budget is there when they finally make a new King and Mercyful Fate record, that he actually gets like one big budget video or an animated video maybe.
Well, hopefully it's better than what he did for the long form video that came with the Puppet Master.
No.
Did you watch that? Did you ever watch that thing? We're not going to talk about the Puppet Master, so let's just talk about this for a minute.
Yeah, briefly.
I was watching this video, and he's in his King Diamond on stage voice, which he talks like this when he's on stage. He sounds like an old Jewish man. I don't understand it. And he's like telling the story of this, and it's him sitting at this antique desk telling the story. And I just look at the screen and I said, why did you do this? You are wasting Metal Blade's money. What is wrong with you? I have never before or since thought you are wasting the record label's money. But he did. Sorry. I love great album, by the way. I have it on vinyl.
Yeah, not this.
Not this. No, I don't have this.
So yeah, let's just pick out the songs we like, if there are any. I have like 3 out of 11 that I like.
Oh my God, hit me! I got nothing.
Everything. The opening track's not bad. Nightmare Be Thy Name.
It is not bad. It is very. We spent 45 minutes gushing and stroking and glad handing and Dutch ruddering these two dudes about how amazing they are and how great they can riff. All of a sudden, Timmy's not there. And now it feels like...
I don't think he was ever really a writing factor, but it does seem strange that... I just think what it is, just really quick to precursor what you're going to say and probably what I'm going to say, is I think it was just like, on one hand, they should have been firing on all cylinders after this run together. But I think it's probably the opposite effect, is they went on tour and it started to be diminishing returns between the guys, and the chemistry maybe fell apart a little bit, maybe because of Timmy, maybe not. I don't know.
Entirely possible.
It just seems like there's no oomph to this whole record, and I don't know what it is. I'm not trying to blame anyone in particular. Collectively, there's no pizzazz on this.
Yeah, there is no standout star, and there's no standout anchor. This is 5 dudes in a room, frankly, not getting it done, and it's when the closest they ever get to getting it done, it just sounds like a rehash of what they've done in the past.
Yes, and well said.
I am a big fan. Like, the reason why I love Metallica as much as I do is because they're a band that never does the same album twice, except for Load and Reload. But that really should
have been one album anyway.
Yeah, so I love that about them, that each album of theirs is new and different.
Obligatory Metallica mention. Go ahead.
It's like the third one. It happens every week. It
does.
The thing about Metallica is a great touchstone. If you are Jimmy, 15-year-old listening to this, you know Metallica.
Mm.
That's why I always use
a good reference point. It is the equator of all metal.
Correct. Well, that's why I always use the biggest bands as touchstones, because I could say, well, this is a lot like where you can tell they're growing and changing, but I mean, how many people have heard of
No,
not enough.
Nobody.
Not enough.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Nightmare Be Thy Name is good. The Mad Arab is good. For those who don't know, it's not an offensive song. It's the Mad Arab is the character from H.P. Lovecraft, Abdul Azharad, who is the fictional author of the Necronomicon. If you know your Lovecraft, some of these songs are garbage. Mirror is a good track. The Afterlife is a good track. So it closes a little strong, and then there's like a 6-minute final closing song that I don't like either. So most of this I could live without.
And I mean, the thing about the last song, Castillo del Mortes, what language is that? Is that Portuguese?
Beats me.
Because if it's Spanish, it should be Castillo de los Muertes.
Yeah, it's not that.
And so it's not
Is
Spanish.
it Castle of Mortals? Because that's what I think it means.
I
That's what I
thought it
think
meant Castle of Death,
Yeah,
Castle
it's
of the
if it,
Dead.
he got that wrong, then it's like he's got the title wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he's King Diamond. He makes up his own lexicon. Maybe who? Why am I so critical? But it's just after that last record that's such a banger, and this one is so disappointing. I'm
This one
sorry
is
we
so
did this one.
disappointing that I'm kicking open another beer.
Oh well,
Uh,
yeah. Do you
Double
have any
Dales.
highlights on here? Oh, nice, Dales. Do you have any highlights on here at all?
The
Or
Mad
no?
Arab is very good. That could have easily been on the previous record. Um, Witch's Dance is almost not terrible. Uh, and everything else, there's nothing else in this album that I require. And I mean, I hate to say that, and I hate to bang on a band I love this much, but they didn't bring the goods this time. And then it sucks, but it happened. Everybody puts out, it's not offensively bad, but it's not offensively good either.
It's also interestingly enough, it is a whole new, like I said, a new rhythm section. Maybe that's I hate to
Oh
blame
yeah,
those
the
guys.
drummer changed too. We didn't even mention that.
Yeah, I mean, well, see, Snowy.
No, the drummer is the same. I'm sorry.
Well, he only played on half of the last record, but now it's like a completely new rhythm section, and maybe that's the thing. But I mean, Charlie is a great bass player. No, I'm not knocking Charlie, but like, it's not fair to either of those guys. But like, yeah, this guy looking for a reason. Like, why is this not that good?
It's not the rhythm section. It's the riffs are not better. I mean, if you look at let's look at here's a big problem, in my humble opinion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I got a couple of reasons why this is the problem with this. 1, there are no collaborative songs.
That's could be the thing. I mean, that may be the thing of the last two records, but it definitely didn't work here.
2, King Diamond wrote the music for half of the album.
That's also not good.
There you go. Yeah, I think we just sussed it out. They didn't write this like they had written everything else. There were on In the Shadows, there's a significant amount of collaborative. It's mostly collaborative. No, it's not. I take that back. It was not collaborative at all, but it worked on that album. So, wow. Well, I just put my dick out in the window on that one, but no, I think that's the issue. It's King Diamond wrote too much of the music. He had too big of a hand on this, and even on his own albums, Andy LaRock writes half of it. So, but let's move on to the tour, the set list on the tour. On this one, they did 14 songs rather than the 12 on the first one. So they did The Oath, Nightmare Be Thy Name, The Bell Witch, Curse of the Pharaohs, A Dangerous Meeting, again, Is That You, Melissa? Doomed by the Living Dead, Moby Dick with the drum solo. That is not necessary. The Mule by Deep Purple, Falling by Solitude Aeternus, My Demon, Satan's Fall, Come to the Sabbath, and again, the greatest closer of all time, Evil. But let's talk about this for a sec. So 1, 2, 3, 4 tracks on this out of these 14 are from the previous reunion albums. So that's about 33% of the tour being on these two albums. And they chose some pretty long ones from the albums as well. So that's pretty sweet. I would say that Is That You, Melissa is still not a song I want to hear.
No.
So what are your thoughts on that set list?
Yeah, that's a good set. I mean, except for that, a couple of duds. I can get trying to that's their third maybe world tour and 2 years, so they're trying to change the set list for themselves, but
they really didn't change
I
it
don't
much.
need a drum solo from Snowy Shaw. I don't need covers, and I don't need Is That You, Melissa, again.
Yeah, there's okay. Who the hell is Solitude Aeternus?
This is a pretty good band, actually, but I don't.
Is it? I don't know
want
them.
King Diamond covering them.
And they cover it in an instrumental.
Yeah, that's probably what
That's
it is.
dumb. Moby Dick, Deep Purple. I'm sorry, that's a poor choice. I would have been very see.
Some Moby Dick, great. Led Zeppelin, Moby Dick, the drum solo. Oh
yeah.
My god, that's
I'm assuming that's when they played Snowy Shaw's solo. But you know what? You know who's great at playing Moby Dick?
Led Zeppelin.
Yes. You know who I don't need to hear it, but you know who I need to hear play that song? Now, right now. Who do I want to hear play Moby Dick?
In Dream Theater.
Not even. No one. It's fine because let it go. There is no reason.
50 years old. Let that shit go.
There is no, and at this point in time, it was 20 years old. There is no point in bringing this into the conversation. And then Deep Purple? What the actual? What? Seriously? It's not even a twin guitar band.
I just laughed my headphones off my head. That's how...
I mean, if they were doing like Iron Maiden or Judas Priest or something, okay. Okay, I see what it's like. You know what they should have covered? I mean, Wild Thing. Just cover Wild Thing.
Louie.
Yeah. Open the set with Wild Thing, close it with Louie, see if anybody notices.
That's what Motorhead would do, though.
Yeah, but Motorhead couldn't play.
Oh, stop. Lemmy
couldn't play the rest.
I can make you do a Motorhead run just for that.
I totally should do a Motorhead run. I'm fine with that.
Against them. Anyway, I think that's kind of all I have for this episode. That's all I have for this album. Just really is a dip, unfortunately.
It is a dip, but the good news is next week we're rolling again.
All right.
Well, we'll fight that next week. But yes, so what we have this week is a lot like what we had last week. First record, great. Second record, not great. Except the highs were higher this week and the lows were lower.
Yeah, well said. Well said.
All righty. Anything else this week?
I got nothing, sir.
All righty. Well,
don't get this record, Time. Get the other one.
Yeah, do not buy Time. Just don't. Just don't. Skip. Yeah, hit skip. Don't even listen on Spotify. Just to show them. But, I want to thank everybody for listening. If you have made it through this far, thank you very much. You are princes, princesses, heirs apparent, and attorneys general and justices of the peace. So thank you very much for kicking it with us this week. Greatly appreciated. I am Nick Cameron of Glacial Musical for Keefe Chakas of Ghost Cult Mag. We appreciate your attention, your listenership, your earhole space, letting us fill it. We like to fill that space. I know I do with my words. Nothing else. Just my words, not innuendo. Wait a minute, that is words. Anyway, but thank you very much. If you could like the video, if you're listening to it, rate the podcast. Like the video if you're watching it. Rate the podcast if you're listening to it. Just those little teeny tiny nothing burgers that you can do really help us out. And with that, I will say thank you for listening to the Glacial Musical Podcast. It does not play in Peoria. Who won the championship this year?
I don't know who.
Peoria.
Okay.
They won the championship this year. They're like 3 days